Zdravo! Verbs of motion don't really have a good reputation in Slavic languages. People find them quite hard and complicated. Maybe it's because in other Slavic languages like Russian and Polish, they are more challenging than in Serbian. In this video, we will learn how Serbs navigate their way through life one verb at a time. You will notice that in the title of this video, this is the part 1. We decided to split this topic into 2 videos so that we can dose new information for you and help you grasp this whole concept step by step. So, grab your notepads and get comfortable. But before we start, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Serbian language videos. Alright, let's start. So, as their name suggests, we are dealing with the verbs that have a meaning to go somewhere from A to B. To go in Serbian is ići. This is the only neutral verb of motion. By neutral, I mean that it simply has the meaning to go, without any additional nuance. So, we use it in all sorts of different situations. Idem na posao. Idemo na kafu. Idemo kolima. Even in idioms. Ideš mi na živce. Besides this one, I'm going to show you some other fundamental motion verbs in Serbian. Šetati se, hodati, pešačiti, trčati, putovati, plivati, leteti. These verbs, however, are not going to be the topic of this video. These are not the ones that people find confusing. We notice that our students usually grasp their meanings and their usage pretty easily. But if you would like to learn more about them, you can check our beginner course where Dragana talks about them in our unit 6.3. But what we are going to talk about today are these verbs. Dolaziti, odlaziti, ulaziti, izlaziti, prelaziti, prolaziti, polaziti, stizati. So, this is when the fun part starts. They all look pretty similar. Take a look at these verbs again and see what they have in common. We can see that all of them, except the last one, stizati, end in laziti. So the only thing that differs among them is their prefix. And very often that prefix is here to help you memorize the difference between them. Let me start with these 2 pairs. These prefixes look exactly like prepositions do, od, u, is. And guess what? They carry the same connotation. Do refers to moving to or towards something, so the focus is on the ending position. Dolazim do tebe. Dolaziš na koncert. Od is the opposite. If you remember this preposition, it means from or away from. Here, the focus is on the starting point. Odlazim od kuće. Odlazimo iz ovog grada. U, as a preposition, could have a meaning in, if it's just a location, or into, if it's used with the verb of motion. Verbs with this prefix will always be used together with the preposition u. Ulazim u stan. Ona ulazi u voz. And is the antonym, meaning out or out of something. Izlazim iz stana. Ona izlazi iz voza. With the next two pairs, unfortunately, we can't rely on prepositions prelaziti and prolaziti. But I can give you another tip. Let's take a look at them. The only different letter in these two verbs is here, e or o. Even if you remember their meanings, it's often very difficult to say which one means what. Prelaziti is to go over, across something. Try to match this with the preposition preko. Its first three letters are the same as the prefix, and they have the same meaning. So, we use this verb if we go from one side to another. It could be a street, bridge, the border. I will show you the example with the street. Prelazim ulicu, or prelazim preko ulice. So you can use accusative or preko plus genitive. Prolaziti has this meaning, to go through something. For easier memorizing, remember this vowel o, it appears in the preposition kroz, through, as well as in our prefix prolaziti. Prolazim kroz tunel. So preposition kroz always requires accusative. But the tricky thing is that this verb has one more meaning, pass by or go along. So if something is on my way, I will also use this verb in a sense I'm passing it by. For example, prolazim pored tvoje kuće. And here is our last pair. Be careful, these two verbs represent the opposite meaning. Polaziti versus stizati. Polaziti is to start, to depart. So its focus is on the starting point. Stizati means exactly the opposite, to arrive. Let's compare them in examples. Voz polazi u 10 sati. I voz stiže u 14 sati. Since these verbs have the same ending in infinitive, they all have the same conjugation. It's the easy part. The verb stem remains the same, so everything is pretty regular about these verbs. The only exception is stizati, which is irregular one, and this is how we conjugate it. Ja stižem, ti stižeš, on, ona stiže, mi stižemo, vi stižete, oni stižu. If you don't know how to remember this, just think about the verb kazati. This one you probably already know. They have the same forms. Kazati, kažem. Stizati, stižem. So far, we covered 8 verbs of motion. But as I already warned you, there's more. All of the verbs I talked about in this video are imperfective, which means that we use them if we talk about an ongoing or repeating action. Each of these verbs has its perfective pair, and this is how they look next to each other. Their meaning is completely the same, even their prefixes are, but their usage is not. And these perfective forms are going to be the topic of our next video, so make sure to be subscribed so that you don't miss it. In case you don't want to wait for the next video, or you would like a more detailed explanation plus many exercises, in our Unit 8 of our pre-intermediate course, you will find the complete 35-minute video guide to all Serbian verbs of motion, with a lot of examples and interactive exercises. I will leave the links to both of the courses that I mentioned in this video in the description. If you feel like practicing the verbs we covered today, write your examples with them in the comments. We promise we will check all of them and leave you feedback. I to je sve za danas. Nadam se da vam je bilo korisno. Vidimo se uskoro. Ćao!